Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough? That no matter what you did, something was missing? There was a young woman named Clara who lived in a small, peaceful town surrounded by green hills and golden fields. Clara was kind and always ready to help others, but deep inside, she struggled. She often compared herself to others. Claire was deeply uncomfortable with her temper, her jealousy toward her confident best friend Lily, and her fear of failure. Her best friend Lily was popular and confident, and Clara wished she could be more like her. One day, Clara sat on the edge of her bed, holding a notebook in her lap. She wrote down a list of things she didn't like about herself. I'm too shy. My nose is too big. I'm not smart enough. The words stared back at her, each one making her feel smaller. She thought of these traits as flaws that she needed to hide. But one day, everything changed. Walking through the market later that afternoon, Clara passed an older man selling handmade wooden carvings. His stall wasn't busy, but the carvings were beautiful. Tiny birds, trees, and flowers with intricate details. Something about the man's calm smile drew her in. "Hello," he said warmly. "Would you like to see something special?" Clara nodded. The man handed her a small wooden heart. "This," he said, "is for someone who needs to remember that they are enough. What you resist persists." Clara blinked in surprise. "How did you know?" The man chuckled. "I've lived long enough to see that many people carry invisible scars. But every scar has a story, and every story has value." This hit her hard. She realized she had spent years resisting parts of herself. The next day, Clara tried something new. She smiled at herself in the mirror and whispered, "You are enough." It felt awkward, but she repeated it every morning. Clara sat by her window holding the wooden heart. The old man's words echoed in her mind. She opened her notebook and flipped to a fresh page. Instead of writing things she didn't like, she began listing small things she appreciated about herself. "I care deeply about others. I love painting, even if I'm not the best at it. I make my little brother laugh when he's sad." For the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of warmth in her chest. However, it wasn't always easy. One afternoon, Lily invited her to a party. Clara felt excited but also nervous. At the party, she overheard someone say, "Clara is nice, but she's so quiet. She's not very fun." The words stung, and Clara's self-doubt returned. She went home and cried, but then she remembered the wooden heart. She reminded herself, what you resist persists. "I resist being shy and try to be more fun," she whispered. But why? She didn't need to raise her voice to make an impact. It wasn't about changing who she was. It was about embracing it. Clara decided she wouldn't resist anymore. She didn't need to force herself to be the loudest in the room or the most outgoing to belong. Her quiet nature, her care for others, and her creativity were more than enough. Clara decided to face her shadows. She started journaling her thoughts and feelings. At first, it was uncomfortable. She admitted to feeling jealousy, insecurity, and anger. Emotions she usually buried. As she wrote, something surprising happened. She saw how these negative traits were connected to her strengths. Her jealousy of Lily stemmed from a deep desire to be confident. Her temper was a sign of her passion and strong values. Her shyness and lack of outward excitement stemmed from an introspective nature, allowing her to deeply connect with others and create a sense of trust and safety. Even her fear of failure was tied to her high standards and drive for success. During this journey, Clara met Ethan, a thoughtful and creative artist. Ethan had a unique way of embracing his flaws. He spoke openly about his struggles with self-doubt and how he used his art to process his feelings. Inspired, Clara shared her discoveries with him. Ethan told Clara about a time when he felt ashamed of being overly sensitive. But once he accepted this trait, he realized it made him a better artist and friend. Clara began to see her own shadow not as an enemy, but as a guide. The moment of truth had arrived. It was the night of the university's end-of-year party, a glittering event, buzzing with excitement, laughter, and endless chatter. Clara stood at the edge of the hall, her heart pounding. This was her chance to put everything she had learned into practice. She wasn't just stepping into a party. She was stepping into a moment that would define her acceptance. For a brief second, the old fears whispered in her mind, urging her to stay invisible. But Clara took a deep breath and smiled to herself. She didn't need to be someone she wasn't. She could let go of the mask, of the stress to impress. As she walked in, her quiet confidence became her strength, her true self shining through. Clara felt genuine pride, not because she had changed, but because she had accepted herself. She didn't try to connect with all the guests or present herself as outgoing. Instead, she spent quality time with Ethan and a few close friends and turned the party into a cherished memory. With this change, Clara stopped wasting her energy trying to connect with the wrong people. Instead, she focused on nurturing deeper connections with her small circle of family and close friends. One cold winter day, Clara and Ethan visited a cozy cafe to escape the chill. They sat by the window, chatting quietly, when a waiter suddenly approached with a beautifully decorated cake. Clara froze, her heart racing. She hadn't told anyone it was her birthday. Ethan grinned as the waiter set the cake down. "Surprise," he said warmly. For a moment, Clara was speechless, her eyes welling up. She hadn't expected anyone to remember, let alone make her feel this special. One day, Clara visited the old man's stall. Clara wanted to thank him for the wooden heart. But when they arrived, the stall was empty except for a small sign that read, "The parts of yourself you dislike the most are often your greatest teachers. When you embrace them, they transform into strengths. Love yourself first. The rest will follow." Clara smiled. She knew the old man's gift wasn't just the wooden heart, but the lesson that had changed her life. She thought about her temper, her jealousy, and her fear. They were no longer things to fight against, but pieces of her story. By the time Clara and Ethan's connection blossomed into love, Clara had come to a powerful realization. Self-improvement isn't about perfection and erasing your flaws or becoming someone else. It's about embracing your shadows, understanding their origins, and finding the beauty and strength they contribute to your life.